Hello, this is Patrick from XPression. I'd like to show you how to set up NDI as a frame buffer in input source. So here I'm working in my sequencer, and you can see that I have my sequencer ready to go, but I'm noticing one thing. If you look at my output column on my sequencer, where it says frame buffer 1, it's in red. That's indicating to me that there is no frame buffer 1, and what I would like to do is play this using NDI outputs. So I'm going to go into my menus for Edit, Hardware Setup, and when that opens up, you can see in Hardware Setup I'm looking at my inputs and outputs, and I have nothing here. So I'm going to add an output and an input at the same time. So I'm going to click on Add, and I'm going to choose New Tech Network Device Interface. When this opens up, you can see that I've got my New Tech Device Interface frame buffer setup, and I'm going to give this a name, and I'm going to call it Output 1, just because I have it. And I also get to register an input, and I have something on my phone that I'm going to use, so I'm going to call it NDI Cam, because that's what it's called on my phone. And I can tell this system when I do outputs I want to do fill only, or if I leave this unchecked it will do fill in key as one single stream. I also want to point out that you'll see a checkbox here for use GPI color space conversion. Leave this selected, and this makes this much faster for XPression to do its rendering. And you'll have the same thing for the input source. And if I have a fill only, in other words, I'm feeding in a camera, there will not be an input signal for alpha coming in, so we're going to ignore that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check those boxes, and when I do this now, you'll notice that I have set up an output and an input. So I'm going to do one thing here quickly. I'm going to show you the input selector. I'm going to make this quick choice here. I'm going to set this up because that input signal will always be running, so there's a choice here when I have that input selected to keep input active. Now, when I go ahead and I close this up, and again, this all assumes that you've installed the NDI tools, which we don't distribute. You have to go and get this from the NDI website under NDI tools. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shrink down my XPression window here just a little bit, and I have a tool called NDI Monitor, and this comes from NewTek from their downloads. Now if I take a graphic and I go to select it and I put that on output, you can now see that animates, and this will show up. I'm going to put a different graphic there. I'm going to take this one offline. I'm going to put a lower third here. I've got one right here, so I'm just going to double click on it to take it, and you'll notice that this appears. And again, just so you guys understand, this is generating an alpha signal, and you'll see that when I tell it to show checkerboard, I can put on show checkerboard, and this lets me see where there is image coming and where there is no image coming. I'm going to turn this one off, or take it offline I should say, and I'm going to play a different one so you can kind of see this. These have a soft fade when they animate in, so you'll see this one show up with that soft glow, and you can see that it's there, and you can see the information in there. So this was setting up an output. Now I'm going to go over here and come back to my layout side. I'm going to create a new scene, and I want this to fit in my window here, so I'm double click on the title bar. I'm going to put a quad on my viewport, and I'm going to Material Manager, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to add a new live source. I'm going to my input source, and I'm going to choose NDI input channel 1, and you can see there's my input there. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go to my Material Manager. I'm going to add that in, and again, this is full size here. I can scale this up to be 1920 by 1080 because that's what it's sending, and this is on my desk, and you can see that it's running in live. So that's adding an NDI frame buffer, and it's also adding an NDI input to XPression.